By the way, here's the hashtag, very creative. And we're going to start with the ladders and Shankar, who runs data science over there. So Shankar, welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thanks very much. All right, very excited to start 2015. All right. So I'm Shankar Mishra, and I manage data science analytics at the ladders. So let's start out with a little bit about the ladders. You know, many people don't know, even I was surprised that it was founded in 2003. And at that time, it used to be a 100,000 plus jobs only kind of a job board. Since then, we have evolved. We no longer just do 100,000 plus jobs. We're like all professional jobs. And we have, since then, 7 million plus members, 85,000 employers that we hang out with. And roughly right now, we may have around 300,000 professional jobs open on the site. And with all of these, there are about 108 employees as of last Friday. I don't know, it might have changed this week. So about 108 employees helping all these people improve their career. And that's what we're about. So what does a career path look like? So I thought, you know what, let me think about how does mine look like? And actually, that's mine. And each of those circles is kind of a major event. In this case, what I did is whenever I changed companies, I put that as a major event there in my career path. But this career path evolves different way for different people. And in my experience, I have seen 3 distinct behaviors. The first one, and to me that is the most interesting one, is these are the people who have a very clear idea of a long-term goal. Long-term means like 10 years out. They know what they want to do. And from then on, they kind of look at, okay, what are the options available today? And then which one of those will take me out there to that 10-year goal? Rare breed, not a lot of these people. Fortunately, I know some of them. So if any of you fall into that category, please, I would love to know you. The next one is the focus is on the next step. I know where I am, and I know where I want to be. And time is kind of the variable here. It may take me 3 years to get in there. It may take me 2 years. But that's the variability. And the next one is that, you know, time doesn't have that much flexibility. So market defines what my next one gonna be. So a lot of things that we do focuses more on the second and third kind. So let's dig into that, the second and third kind. And it's defined as one is, who am I? And here is a random resume and some salary over there. And the second aspect to that is that, what do I want as the next step in my career? And what do I want has a clear definition in terms of, hey, I want this job or that title or this salary or something like that. There is also a little bit of observed behavior on our part that, okay, understand you stated that. How does that show up in your activities? And all 3 together, kind of we label it as profile is history. How did you get here? Preferences, where you want to go. And then activities, how that is being observed in things that you do. And based on these 3 is what we come up with, how do we recommend jobs to you? And when I say jobs, remember, to us, jobs is just a document with, you know, kind of words in it, English only right now. So when we look at both sides, profile side and job sides, there is a hierarchical taxonomy that comes into play. And that it applies to both sides. On top of the resume and job description, actually, there is a set of keywords. And then different levels of groupings come into play. And those are just kind of our terms for those groupings. And based on this hierarchy, there is a distance function that we calculate between a profile and a job description. But the distance also applies to various other attributes like title, salary, company, industry, whole bunch of attributes that come into play. Based on those, so those distances become features, and then we use a classifier to figure out is what jobs make up a particular job seeker's job universe. So at any time, because job is an entity that is available for a short amount of time. Every day, new jobs are coming in, some jobs are getting filled. So as jobs are coming in, we move those jobs through this classifier model to each person's universe. Now, what are the kind of interesting things that come into play over here? And one of those things is the distance between just people's own perception of profile and preferences. What I am today, what I want to be tomorrow. There's lots of interesting stuff within that, but that can create some interesting constraints in the model. So salary, title, and the kind of list goes on. So let's pick salary for an example. A person who makes $100,000 today, what do they want for their next job? And this is how the distribution looks, of course, based on our data. Somewhere around, there's a 10% window where there are a lot of people, roughly 80% of people hang within that 10% window. But then there is a 20% which goes actually both sides. And it changes the shape of the distribution depending upon how much you're making today. So if you're making, say, 60K today, there's only upside, right? A whole bunch of people kind of looking at higher than that. And now we move to 100K. And then a little bit kind of more balanced, per se. But then as you keep moving higher and higher, and you'll see the kind of greens go down, the reds keep coming up. This is still based on kind of stated data. And this is just the salary part. The other part is the titles and different variables. So if you look in title, let's take a title of data scientist, right? I'm sure some of the data scientists are here in this room, right? These are the different next titles that they want. And there are some interesting ones over here, right? System architect, CTO, IT manager. And the reason that is important to us is just displaying relevant job is not good enough. That's just a step. The end game is connecting an employer with a job seeker for us. So when we get to that mode, this particular job seeker's profile needs to be looked at by an employer, and employer must find that relevant enough to connect. So that brings us the flip side of the problem, where now we have job descriptions on one side, the role on one side, and then job seekers on the other side. And what we are trying to do over there is we are trying to maximizing likelihood of employer interaction with the candidate. So what is important for employer interaction? First is relevance. To the role, that profile should be relevant. But even more important for employers is actually intent. If they see a lot of relevant candidates, but keep calling them and everybody keeps hanging up on them, it's not a pleasant experience for them. So if they know that is some intent exists, less work on them. So when they look at a profile of a desire being system architect, that shows intent is there for system architect, even though profile is there for a data science. And together, the decision gets made that, hey, should there be a connection here or not? Now, intent is a fairly kind of interesting, it creates an interesting dynamics for us, because if you think about it, there are published jobs out there. So a company like the Ladders goes and publishes a job that is visible on all different websites. But not all jobs are published. A lot of times people go to different sites, search for people, and based on the search results, figure out that, yep, I found one, let's talk to them, go on from there. So another angle that comes in over here is even search results are candidate recommendations. And on top of it, there may not be enough data here. So when we think about a job description, it's a full document, lots of information in there, lots of opportunity to infer what will be a relevant candidate. When you're looking at just search, there's just a few terms there. And based on those few terms, not only you got to figure out relevance, but also see on the other side, hey, who might have intent? So what we did is kind of, as we were figuring this one out, we also struggled with that, hey, on intent, we always think about implicit intent. We look at their behavior, figure out, yep, there is intent. What if we went after explicit intent? So what we did is looked at various things that people searched. In this case, these are just the keywords which were part of searches by different employers or recruiters. And try to figure out from there is what is the role that they are trying to fill. And that itself becomes a very interesting problem. And that created a data product that we call Inside Leads, which is, there is no published job out there. Somebody is searching. We've guessed the role that they're searching for. And guess is the technical term here. And put it in front of job seekers and let them click on it to express intent. There is no apply here because there is no job. But what that like button does is shows an intent for other sides. So now search results are not only relevant, but it also shows intent. Now, you all know career is about more than just jobs. How about that place between these two big circles when I changed companies and changed jobs? In between that, I was actively working on things. And my career was moving. There was progress being made. So how do we think about that part? Two ways kind of we think about it. One is things that I'm doing. Based on that, is my market changing? So every person has kind of a market within which they move around. Based on new skills, new network, does the market become broader or does it shrink? Or the second aspect is, how is my profile changing? And based on that profile, am I becoming a little bit more desirable than before? So I'll give you an example of the market. What we did is we looked at about 7-8 years worth of data and just the keywords that showed up in job descriptions and resumes. And in this case, picked up the keyword subprime. The green is job description, the orange is resume. So if you see subprime, the frequency of that word was fairly high in 2007 or so time frame. It wasn't that high on the resume side. Resume started picking up, but by the time resume started picking up, it was already on decline. And we saw this interesting behavior against a lot of keywords where data scientist was another very interesting one. where anywhere between 2 to 4 months lag existed between the market change and people waking up to it. So we created a product to give some visibility into market. So given, in this case, it is a person is a CFO, want to know how the salary is in the marketplace, it's available now. Other one that is kind of interesting is competition, which takes into account how many jobs are there and how many active job seekers are there to figure out how competitive the marketplace is. Skills that are being asked for, and how different locations vary from one another. Again, what it's doing is giving visibility into that market. So as you move in your career, as you kind of go around skills, new projects, all of that, new network, either market size changes or desirability changes. So career improvement, or even focusing on career, has become pretty much a continuous task. We think about it almost every day. The access to data is a lot better than it used to be, I would know. Visibility into jobs and profiles has changed dramatically in last few years. However, the decisions about career, planning about career, is still being done by individuals, kind of in a lonely way, limited by their own visibility in the information out there, and also limited by their own capacity to optimize based on that information. Now, there's some work that we are doing at the ladders, but if you think about it, this is a problem which is a problem for all data-driven professionals, the whole community at large. Through this, not only we help ourselves, but when we create a solution that optimizes that career options for people at a point in time, enhance their access to information. We're helping 50 million professionals today, and 50 million who will be joining the market anytime soon. So I'll throw that out there, and with that, thank you for your time, attention, and opportunity.
Thank you very much. We have time for just one question, if there's one. You're right here.
You mentioned something about classification earlier. My question is the classification done based on any kind of recommendations from ladders, or is the class like, if this job is suited for this industry, or what are the features you're looking at? Who does the classification?
It's all of that done within the ladders. So all of the kind of data related to jobs and job seekers, based on that, is us who generate it.
So it's done, is someone manually looking at the job description and, saying, okay, this belongs to this category, or is it done automatically based on the form being filled by the employer?
Mostly automated, but there are manual components within that. Because every job in ladders, before it gets on site, it has been reviewed by somebody manually, a human person.
Cool, that's all the time we have. You're going to be here after this?
Yes.
For the drinking part?
Yes.
Thank you. Thanks very much.